I'm Shelley Stenhouse, and I'll be reading my poem, The Last Dragons on Earth, a travelogue. 1. The pitch. Wally, my father, pitches the trip on the phone. They're the last dragons on Earth. You have to go, Shell. Christ, they're going to be gone. We'll be traveling with Granddaddy, one of my dad's CEO friends, a mine owner. He's the richest man in Alabama, and his wife Caroline, but they call her Mimi. You'll love her, Shell. She's artsy. She's got 200 chairs hanging from her ceiling. Dad's guide, Patty, we adore her, a travel dominatrix, has made him trek with huskies to squat in snowy Mongol yurts, dance in pig slaughter ceremonies, play volleyball with a tribe who wears nothing but penis shields. My daughter and I won't go unless my boyfriend Russell goes, so I pitch the trip to him. We won't see anything, sweetie, Russell says. We'll be traveling on a cloud of money. But he's coming. Wally leaves this message on my answering machine. I need to know if you and Russell plan to be married at the time of the Indonesia trip. The airline insurance is a hell of a lot cheaper if you're married. It makes a difference, Shell. It'll save one hell of a lot of dough, so let me know. That is, if you know. 2. Bali. First words from Mimi at the camp in Bali, where Princess Diana once secretly stayed. In India, pronounced Inja, we had the cutest little guide. Whatever we wanted, we just said it and it was done. We wanted to try meditating, that yoga stuff. Next thing you know, we're crossing our little legs and doing the Om thing. Vandy, the daughter-in-law, short for Vanderbilt, is 6'3" and always wears white. Even Granddaddy gets her twins mixed up. Margot has a mole. That's the only way you can tell them apart. The twins run through airline terminals spending aerobically. They even buy the duty-free polyester soccer shirts on the plane. They trash their hotel rooms each night like rock stars. Their little sister, Lizzie, pees in the corner on the rug. 3. Schooner. Our schooner's decks are oiled mahogany, the color of the beautiful crew, included snorkeling experts that lines up to greet us. We sway and sleep in the salty, cold cabin and attempt to eat the huge, useless dinners that roll off the table deck. There's way too much food, my stepmother says. I know it, says Mimi. Wally and Granddaddy swap world conqueror stories. We went up the coast of Russia on a mail boat. Nothing on that damn boat but mail and prisoners. Nothing to see but ice. Now I can check that off the big list. Granddaddy keeps a big list. Wally tells Granddaddy about his trip with the Huskies. Mimi cuts in. My husband says the reason I don't like the Arctic is 'cause there's nothing to buy. Vandy whispers to me that Mimi dropped $50,000 on jewels in India. 4. Detour. Our guide, Patty, prides herself on spontaneity. We detour the schooner to Rudy the crew member's island, where no one but Rudy has seen Caucasians. On the dock, one trembling man puts his arm around me to have his picture taken. I stand huge and white in my knotted sari. The islanders walk crabs on leashes through the dusty street. The village girls giggle and hide behind their skirts while the men cook a dish called singing snails. They stand the snails up on a bed of palm fronds, set them on fire, When they're dying, they sing. We eat them with hard green bananas. I eat everything anyone hands me. A jiggling square of gelatin, a crab no longer walking on his leash. Rudy's mother serves us heated condensed milk, a delicacy for dessert, from a kitchen that's a hole, a fire, a spoon. Mimi wears a Comme des Garçons shirt. Vandy and I snorkel through Disney bright waters. She wears her gigantic waterproof Rolex. She tells me it belonged to her brother, a Houston Oiler whose heart stopped in a Chicago hotel room. The Football Commission investigated. Steroid death at 33. The watch was all Vandy wanted. 'Cause it's big, just like he was. Vandy sees a shark, but she doesn't have her period, so she doesn't worry. 5. Komodo. At 7 in the morning, after a flea-bitten night in the boat cabins, we reach Komodo, where the last dragons live. Pearl salesmen have paddled all the way from their home islands to sell us necklaces. Their handmade boats lined the shore like sharpened pencils. Buy, lady, you buy from me, lady. Beautiful on you, lady, you beautiful lady. So many pearls, and it's so hot I can't decide. Brown or pink or gray, even or rough. We are led down a dry brush path to a sunny clearing where the dragons, ancient and bored, tired of their roles in this long-running show, lazily aim their fancy forked tongues at our long-clicking lenses. A Japanese tourist leans down dangerously close to a dragon's smiling mouth. After a dragon digests its prey, nothing is left but white bones and hair. Patty points out these ghost piles on the way back down the steaming trail. One pearl salesman paddles his boat behind us all the way to our over-air-conditioned schooner. Lady, lady, he calls to Vandy. She offers him $5 a strand, half the amount he asks. Mama, don't pay too much. He has to sell them to us. What's he gonna do? The twins burst in, and Vandy adds new strands to the 15 already wrapped tight around her thick neck and around the thinner necks of her twins. Bankrupt, he says. No, we're going bankrupt, Vandy mimics, and he paddles off, clutching his half pay. Mama, he smells bad, the twins giggle as his boat moves away. All I can think about is pearls, white pearls, brown pearls, pink or beige. Vandy likes beige the best. I buy a few reject strands from her. 6. Toraja. Winding in our bus to the top of the Torajan mountain, honking the horn at every bend, past houses shaped like chickens or Napoleon hats, rice pools glittering in the sun like fish scales, Patty tells us about the first time she drove along this road. She always talks about the first time, a brighter day, an unspoiled way. I want to stop hearing about the first time. Nothing is ever like the first time. Anyone who has loved knows this. Patty lives in Oak Park, Illinois. She's the adopted daughter of 200 Indonesian tribes. At the camp, they greet us with hollowed-out palm trunks, our names carved into the trunks like monogram towels, filled with palm wine. They place palm frond headbands on our heads. Patty has hired a handful of sexy long-haired locals to hang around and play guitar, and a toothless warrior who dances for us in a necklace of human ribs. He probably lives on residuals from his pictures in all the guidebooks. The kids carry a squealing baby pig around in a small string hammock. He'll be sacrificed for dinner. We careen with Patty farther up the narrowing road to meet her Tarajan adopted father, an old man with long black nails who does not believe the world is round. He serves us tea. "Geez, it's the nuts," my father says to me. Out the bus window, I see children carrying or walking fancy-looking roosters, kicking dogs. In Indonesia, everything is reversed. They treat roosters like dogs and dogs like roosters. The cats have strange curly tails and look like devils. Important Tarajans are buried inside rocks. We see the effigy dolls standing guard outside their tombs. Our local Tarajan guide is getting a PhD in languages, making money while he finishes his degree. Granddaddy calls him Hollywood because he's handsome. "Hey, Hollywood," he says at every opportunity, and there are many. Hollywood tells us, in Taraja, they bury dead babies in trees. A baby has to be very little to be buried in a tree, still nursing, before it has tasted the fruit of the land. It still gets nourishment, grows up with the tree. Land disputes here are solved by cockfights. Granddaddy gets on the subject of beggars. "When I was in India, my guide told me how to tell the true beggars. You look 'em in the eye. If you can't see your own reflection in a man's eyes, that man is about to die. Those are the real ones. That's how you know. Those are the ones you give your money to." In their Alabama bedroom, they keep a human skull they bought on the last trip next to their bed. "It's so cute, his little head," Mimi says. "I love it." "Uh-huh." On the way to the market, we learn that the white, blue-eyed buffalo is the finest. At the marketplace, the locals wait for Granddaddy to jump over the puddle of water mixed with buffalo shit. They're taking bets. He loses his balance, scrapes his ankle, his sneakers fill up with brown, and everyone cheers. The pigs are tied up like packages on their sides. Their smart little eyes watch us as we pass. Their rump hair is stiff and sparse. Their ears lie flat in what is left of fear. My daughter buys sandals for 50 cents and a Hello Kitty purse. The twins buy fake Gucci bags and watches. They barter like fiends. "Granddaddy, can we have a pig when we get home?" They want to own everything. "Sure you can, sugar. Sure you can." He's wiping the buffalo dung off his shoe. "I can cross this market off the big list." I like Vandy, who admits to having Ethan Allen taste. It's sad to hear her talk about her husband, a man I picture as pale and big and absent. "Granddaddy bought his other son a much bigger house," she tells me, "even though my husband does all the work for the company." I picture them all in the bowels of Granddaddy's mind. I swim in this reversed landscape through the pale blue, impossibly clear water under the collapsing dark green sky. The twins drink 10 Cokes between them for breakfast. "Last year we did Africa with Frank. You have got to use Frank. He's wonderful, Wally," Mimi says. "The children have to be 10. So Lizzie didn't go, and Frank does only the skipped generation. Parents are not allowed to come. Isn't that just brilliant? The kids behave better," Frank says, "and you get that real special grandparent experience." Robin is messing with his buffalo shit-dipped foot, which he now keeps in a plastic bag. all of the grandparents' conversation is about past and future trips. 7. Irian Jaya. We charter a fuel plane to Irian Jaya. The Dani tribe greets us at the top of a hill hidden deep in green mountains. We run in ritual circles, holding the old women's chopped off fingers. When a relative dies, women chop off a digit in mourning. They lead us across a rickety bridge to a village of grass huts they've built for us. Malaria mosquitoes swarm the children's heads. They stage a marriage ceremony outside the smoke huts, slaughter a pig with a bow and arrow, gut it with a bone tool in the blistering sun. At last year's fake ceremony, the chief thought the 12-year-old village girl was cute and married her for real, Patty tells us, while the tribe places the pig on a bed of grasses and greens and sweet potatoes, the staple of the Dani tribe. They grow 86 varieties. The Dani smell of smoke, sweet sweat, and a past that will be bought and divvied up. After the pig, the men have a spear throwing contest, which of course the Americans lose, and we pass out cigarettes to the women who squeal and reach out to us with their mangled hands. One tribe member wears a fancy pack on his naked rear. He's the most cosmopolitan, except for the 2 children who wear "Coke, it's the real thing" t-shirts. They've dug a latrine for us and strung up an ancient toilet seat behind a shower curtain. It collapses while I'm on it. They're not used to this equipment. They squat where it's convenient. It fertilizes the potatoes. And I have to call Russell to help me wipe off my family's shit. Vandy says, "I don't live like this. I bathe every day. I wear makeup." We march with the tribe down to the only Irian Jaya town for an all-tribe demonstration. The mayor sits on a platform supported on tipped-over garbage cans. His wife wears a huge feathered hat. The tribes all stand and cough in their penis shields of wildly varying shapes and sizes. Like film noir movie stars, they love to smoke. The women wear grass skirts, and some of them wear colorful bras. The mayor nods his head, and they are allowed to raise their flag next to the Indonesian flag, just as long as it stays a little lower. Last year, in a similar demonstration, tribe members were mowed down by the army. My father is thrilled at this progress towards freedom. Mimi collapses in the heat after the demonstration. She pulls what Vandy calls her princess act. She feigns fainting, and Patty has to take her to the hospital, stay all afternoon, change her bedpan, hold her India jewel-ringed hand. Mimi tries later to get Patty to sleep in the room with her. Patty says, "Harrison Ford is coming next week. I don't need this shit." 8. Bali again. In Bali, we stay at a spa where the shower head is the size of a trash can lid. We swim next to our room in a private saltwater pool. Russell and I get a couple massage in a hut on the terraced hill. 2 beautiful, identical-looking women rub us with our choice of oils while we listen to wind chimes on the one tape they seem to play all over this country, a country diversified in everything except recorded native music. We are sitting in aching beauty, eating juicy local fruit for our last breakfast, when my father says, "Just to review, we have to pack our bags by 2. He goes over and over the logistics. I have never developed My 67 pictures of the same sad dragon from different angles. The crew lined up like the beams of the schooner in the sun. The strange, flat, stinking putt-putt boat that took us to the island with white sand and an endless supply of huge shells we had no time to collect because we were on a schedule.